When you use a spreadsheet, you may need to define a cell formula that will serve as an absolute reference for later calculations. When you define and use an absolute reference, it is the exact content of the formula that is considered and reproduced for the calculation. This is the subject of this demonstration. To illustrate our example, we will use Excel 2010. You may notice that different spreadsheets look slightly different, but the programs are all more or less the same. Before anything, ask yourself, why do I need an absolute reference? Because by default, the spreadsheet sets relative references. In other words, it adjusts the formulas to adapt to their location. For example, if the formula for this cell is selected, it shows that the program adds the data in cells B5 to E5. If the formula is copied and pasted into another cell, the program adjusts the formula to adapt it to the address where it was copied. Therefore, by default, the formula specifies that the data to be included are the ones from cells B6 to E6. Most of the time, relative references are exactly what you need. Sometimes, however, you may need to refer to a cell that contains specific data. In this example, we need to determine the percentage of the number of units sold for each quarter, which is a relative reference, based on the results achieved in a specific year. The results for that year serve as an absolute reference. So how do we go about this? First, click on the cell in which the formula result will be displayed. Put an equals sign in the formula bar, since we will be entering a formula. Add the address of the cell that corresponds to the total number of units sold in the first quarter. Check that the right cell was selected, and then add a mathematical operator. In this case, it is a slash, since the total sales will be divided by the number of sales in each quarter. Finally, enter the absolute reference, that is, the address of the cell that shows the total number of units sold for the year. To do this, you just put a $sign before the letter that represents the column, and another $sign before the number that represents the row where the absolute reference appears. In our example, we have to enter the $sign, and then the letter representing the column, or F, and then another $sign, followed by the number representing the row, or 8. Then click on Enter. That's it. The operation was a success. By the way, if you want the result to be shown as a percentage, you have to go to the Home tab, and in the Number group, click on the Percentage button. To copy the formula and determine the percentage of units sold for each quarter, just select the cell, place your cursor over the little square at the bottom right corner of the cell until it becomes a thin black cross, left-click and hold, sliding to the bottom of the selection before you let go of the mouse button. That's it. You have succeeded. As the copied formula shows, the part before the mathematical operator corresponds to the relative reference, that is, the results from each quarter, and the part after the mathematical operator corresponds to the absolute reference, clearly identified by the $sign. Now you know how to set an absolute reference and add it to a formula to make specific calculations. Good work!